So as the Republican race moves closer toward the possibility of a contested convention, delegates from Pennsylvania are shaping up to be a very powerful voting bloc, and they could even decide the GOP nomination because there are so many of them. Here's how. The Keystone State gets 71 delegates, but only 17 of them have to be handed to the winner of the state primary, which is going to happen on April 26th in a couple of weeks. The 54 remaining delegates will be elected separately, so they are unbound. They can throw their support behind whomever they like on that first ballot of the Republican convention in July. It's the largest block of delegates that are not tied to a candidate that are up for grabs. Now, a list of 162 possible delegates has been posted online, including their names and their contact information, and in some cases, who they're supporting. Joining me now is the man with the list, Phil Kerpen, president of American Commitment. Phil, welcome. Good to have you here today.
Great to be with you, Martha.
So, you know, we're all getting a civics lesson, even those of us who've covered many presidential elections, because it hasn't really been an issue in the past. But you explain to me why you think it's important to publish the names of these people who could be the ones everybody is trying to sway.
Well, this is public information. All of these people have filed their candidacies publicly with the Pennsylvania Secretary of State. The contact information is public from those same filings. And this information on who they're supporting, for the most part, I got from public sources. A lot of it came from a survey the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review did. Selena Zito and Tom Fontaine get tremendous credit for doing that surveying. All of them also went through a number of other media accounts, and we've enhanced it with some original research that people have sent in as well. But this information is absolutely crucial for the reason you said right there in the introduction. These people could decide who the next Republican nominee is. They're going to go into Cleveland unbound, and their intentions, what they plan to do in Cleveland, really ought to be known to voters before they go into the voting booth. And the way the ballot appears, it's just their name. So unless people have another source of information, they won't necessarily know who intends to vote for whom.
So these are the people, obviously the campaigns are very familiar with the names on this list, and they've probably been working them if they're doing their job right. They're the ones who will be potentially wined and dined and, you know, please talk with me. We want to introduce you to our candidate. How does it look like this group leans now, if you can even tell at this point?
Well, 6 of them have already won because they're running unopposed. 1st District of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, 3 unopposed. 14th District of Pennsylvania, which is Pittsburgh City, 3 running unopposed. We know those Pittsburgh 3 that have already won were Marco Rubio loyalists. At least one of them has publicly said he's leaning Kasich. So Kasich may pick up at least 1 delegate from Pennsylvania. But you back out to the other districts where there are competitive races in all of the other districts. We've identified 22 candidates who say they support Cruz, 19 who support Trump. So that's a similar number. There are 70 candidates that have said they'll go with whoever gets the most votes in their district. And a lot of those are local elected officials who I think don't want to choose sides, want to sort of just say they'll go along with the voters. But I can tell you, Martha, a lot of constituents are skeptical of that promise, that these people really would go with a Trump or Cruz if they're more establishment-type elected officials. And so some of them are saying they'll only support people who've publicly stated that they'll support their candidate.
Yeah, so there's 162 on your list. In the end, there will be 71 of them. And Pennsylvania is atypical, you say, in terms of how many sort of loose up-for-grab delegates there are, comparatively speaking, to the state's numbers, right?
There's really no place else like this that has what they call a loophole primary where they elect the delegates separately and they're unbound. Illinois is similar, except the big difference in Illinois is they have the candidate name who they support for president on the ballot right next to the delegate name, which makes it very easy for you to know who you're voting for, and they don't have that in Pennsylvania. You can get this list on my Twitter. It's @Kerpen, and if you know any information that we're missing, I would love to get the power of your viewers in Pennsylvania. Contact these people. Let me know so that we can educate voters before they go into that booth. And
what about you? Do you have a personal leaning about which candidate you're in favor of?
Well, I've publicly said that I'll support whoever the Republican nominee is, and you know, we'll see who that is. When it came to primary day here in D.C., I did vote for Ted Cruz, so that's full disclosure. When I had to push the button on the screen, that is where I came down.
Okay. All right, Phil. Thanks so much. Interesting. Good to talk with you today.